All right, what's good, y'all? So, initial reaction to, I just want to speak about what happened with Noah Lyles, Kenny Bednarek, Christian Coleman, Sha'carri Richardson. Also, a little bit about Gabby Thomas and Ariel Knighten. I'm going to be honest, I already recorded this as I was walking out the stadium, but there was no sound, so I don't know. Apologize for the background noise, but let's just quickly talk about it. Many of y'all have already saw 200 meters, Noah Lyles, he runs the race like he did in 2022, where he's Kenny B on the inside, gets a blazing start. I think Courtney Lindsay on Noah's outside also gets a really fast start. Noah Lyles runs Kenny B down for the win in 19.6 seconds. Kenny B also runs 19.6. As he's crossing the line, Noah Lyles turns over, looks over, just like 2022 when he looked over to Ariel Knighten. He didn't do a point, but after Noah Lyles crosses the line, then Kenny B kind of pushes Noah with both hands. Now, I don't know. People kind of say like, oh, was that wrong? Was that right? I don't know. But he pushes Noah with both hands, not too hard, little push. But after that, Noah turns around and he's like, he puts his arms out and all that, and says something to Kenny B. Now, as Noah continues, he turns back around, Kenny B goes up to Noah and he puts his hand out to kind of shake his hand, like give him dap and all that. This is Kenny B, but Noah doesn't take his hand. I don't know, and maybe y'all know, I don't know what was being said to between each of them. Obviously, there's clearly some like larger issue that we don't necessarily know about. And I think on the broadcast as well with Lewis Johnson on NBC, they were, also kind of awkward situation about the words that were exchanged. So all kinds of awkward stuff. Now, in the mix zone, both of them come through. I get a chance to speak with both of them. Shout out to, go on City Smag, check out the, the interviews we got up. First off, Kenny B, he comes down to the mix zone very, very quickly. So he doesn't do like a victory lap. He doesn't do any of that. Comes through very quickly. He stops. Essentially what Kenny B was pretty pissed. Like he was pretty like emotionally pissed. And he said that, everyone was asking like, what did he say? What did you say? Et cetera, et cetera. And Kenny B was like, it's not about what was said. And he, doesn't even go into it, but he's just like, it's about what was done. And essentially Kenny B is breaking down the fact that Noah Lyles, yes, he's bragging about the win and all that, but Kenny B had to run all these rounds and he was barely beaten by Noah. So yes, Noah beat him out and it's a race and whatever. And he was even saying like, listen, I'm going to get him next time, this, that, whatever. But it's almost like, bro, like you barely beat me and I had to do all these rounds. You were only doing a few rounds. That's what he's kind of saying. And he's also speaking about the fact that, Noah is very out there. He's very expressive. He's very talkative. He's going to be more boisterous, but it seems like the way that he goes about it seems to be, I don't know, getting a little too much, right? A little too much for Kenny's, for what Kenny wants. So I don't know. It's very tricky. Again, check out that full interview on the City Smack YouTube channel. But Kenny was pissed. He cursed in the interview and all that. Like you can clearly tell this was a different level of Kenny B because Kenny is always in my opinion, one of the most respectful athletes. And he's very humble. He's very calm. Obviously, he's been getting more notoriety and more attention after Grand Slam track this year, after essentially dominating the season in the 100 and the 200, in Grand Slam and in different capacities, came here, won the 100. So his profile has been raising for sure. But we, of course, unfortunately, isn't like the super big guy. He's not the super big name. So to have Noah Lyles kind of come here and do a little, I don't know, he feels like it was a little too much. It's a little tricky situation. So I think that did get to him. Noah Lyles came in afterwards and he just said, no comment. He said, coach's orders, no comment. And people kept asking him stuff. He said, no comment at all. So that was a little tricky with Noah Lyles. I mean, I don't know, man. It's very interesting because I do like the different personalities that we get from all the athletes. But how they actually play it out on the track. I mean, especially with the sprinters where I remember in 2019, after either Christian Coleman or Noah Lyles, I think I forget exactly which one, but someone won the Diamond League in Shanghai. And they were exchanging words online. So it was a little bit of a back and forth situation. And that kind of like, started to bubble up, but it never turned into anything real in a sense. But then of course they ran the 4x1 at the World Championships later on that year together. It was all good. Fred Curley and Noah Lyles, they've had like some back and forths and like some issues and stuff like that. But that was all online. But, in person, it's fine. Like, they've never actually had anything on the track. But now here, we see a back and forth or a little like tension with Noah Lyles versus and Kenny B. Yes, I know that sprinters are like, we want to see this, that, whatever. Like they have a lot of like energy and, all this stuff. But like, someone could correct me. I don't feel like we've ever seen something like this on the track. Like, sure, they didn't hit each other. They didn't do any of that. But like, I don't know. I feel like this was a little more tension than I would have expected or I've ever seen. I don't know. Y'all can let me know for sure. But that is a Noah and Kenny thing. I'm not going to recap the race. I'll do that in another video. But on top of that, I did want to speak about Christian Coleman, Ariel Knighten, Gabby Thomas. Christian Coleman, I spoke to him afterwards. Shout out to Christian Coleman, such a respectful guy. But he actually did dive in and spoke about the Sha'carri Richardson situation. He said, of course, everything that happened at the airport, as reported, is of course very true. And he was essentially saying like he wishes that never actually did happen. He didn't want her to go to jail. He didn't want her to, have to be detained and all that stuff. Like he never wanted that to happen. And he was essentially saying like, listen, we're all human. So, emotions, we're all going to have emotions. We're all going to get into different situations and react in various different ways. But again, this is him saying like, we should be more understanding of someone like Sha'carri. And he eventually was saying like, he was giving her so much praise. He was literally saying like, yo, she is one of the best athletes in history. He trains with her. He sees what she does in practice. He sees like the talent in her, and he was giving her so much praise. And I think this speaks to who Christian Coleman is as a person. I did a video last year, I think after the Rome Diamond League, where I spoke to him there about his coaching change. And I spoke about what happened at the Olympic Games with the 4x1 where, of course, him and Kenny B didn't execute the handoff. And people were kind of being tough on them. But Christian Coleman was like, listen, he didn't take the hit. He was just like, listen, it was a team effort. Like we just didn't get it done, et cetera, and not blaming anybody. This is another example to me of Christian Coleman kind of like being the bigger person and not like trying to blame anybody or like bash anybody. Many people might expect, Christian Coleman, if he was attacked, if he was this, that, whatever, like, yo, like this, he's not going to act like that. So again, this is just another example for me of Christian Coleman kind of being the bigger person and really showing his mentality, how grounded he is, how understanding he is of navigating through the world. And again, he really did wish Sha'carri the best, regardless of the actual situation that did occur between him and he's kind of like spoke about, listen, I know we can reconcile the situation. I know we can kind of like, get over it and pass through. So, they'll be able to hopefully work things out. Again, who knows? But shout out to Christian Coleman. Other thing, Gabby Thomas and Ariel Knighten. I spoke to Ariel Knighten, no interview. We just spoke on the side, kind of, conversation. Shout out to Ariel Knighten. He was dealing with an injury. He was dealing with a hamstring injury all year since April. So it wasn't the whole case situation. Like that wasn't his issue. His issue was a hamstring injury. So remember last year before the Olympic trials, he hadn't raced at all. But that was because of the case. That was because of the ban. He wasn't allowed to actually race. This year, he physically couldn't race or train. So there was no opportunity for him to actually get into shape to be able to make the team. So for him to come here in the 200 and finish, fifth place, right? Just off the podium. Like that was a good opportunity for him to be able, I don't know. He showed like his talent, but it just came up short. So shout out to Ariel Knighten. Again, that's a dog. Last one, Gabby Thomas. Gabby Thomas just she just made the team in the 200. Again, I'm going to do a full breakdown later on, but Gabby Thomas, 200, Melissa Jefferson Wooden, first place, Anavia Battle, third place, Mackenzie Long, Gabby Thomas, third place. Gabby Thomas, Brittany Brown, and Mackenzie Long all ran 22.20 seconds. They were separated by like thousands, 2,000ths of a second. Gabby Thomas did not know if she made the team or not. And when we spoke to her afterwards, I spoke to her on camera, which you could check out on Citius Mag YouTube channel. And I also spoke to her kind of like on the side. And she was like, yo, I did not know if I made that team. And if I didn't make that team, it would have been over. Like she was so like, oh my gosh, this would have been do or die for her. But she's been dealing with an Achilles injury over the past like month or so. And she explained how she's been going to get treatment. She, has been going back and forth to like LA to be able to get treatment to be ready for USAs. And just about a week ago, prior to USAs, she said that, listen, this is when I finally got ready enough to be able to compete. And we came here and we clearly see that she's not in great form, but she was in form enough to make this team. Again, by tiniest of margins, So Gabby Thomas is going to be a challenge to see how she does progress. She says she's not 100% yet, but you know, we'll see how that actually does play out. But okay, that was it. And you know, just I'm going to recap the races a little bit later on. Just wanted to give an initial reaction here, but listen, 200-meter team, y'all saw that men's team, that men's top 5. I got it right. I got it right. But yeah, let me know what y'all think. Appreciate y'all. Thanks for watching.